Welcome to Thoughts Off the Stem. I'm Justin Barone, and today we're smoking some Haven Street Premium Cannabis, number 417 Indigo Days. It is an indica at 26 point something percent THC. This stuff is delicious. And as far as a dispensary indica goes, it will shut your brain off if you let it. I've been trying to record a podcast for the last 3 days, and every time I get into it, my brain just goes and just decides not to think anymore. So I'm really curious to see how this is actually going to go. Hope everybody's having a good week, enjoying their smokes, enjoying their life, having a good time. Today, this idea has been kind of on my mind for a while, and it all sort of stems from when the whole, pandemic COVID thing started happening, and I can't believe the amount of fucking negativity people have to their own goddamn kids. It's amazing to me. I get it. If you're a parent, it's hard to fucking eke out your own sort of space, right? And your own, time to yourself and all that stuff. Absolutely. It's tough as shit. I totally get it. I have 3 kids. In case you're new to the podcast, just so you know, I have 3 kids. A 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. They keep me busy as fuck, okay? They're constantly on the go. They constantly argue with me over... I told one of them to put a fucking coat on the other day. It's November, goddammit, in Canada, okay? So it's not super snowy and shit, but it's definitely cold. And this little dude is trying to get out of the house with shorts and a t-shirt on, all right? This is the type of shit that I understand you deal with as a parent. Now, add the fact... that you're a cannabis enthusiast. And now you're trying to explain to this little tiny mind that, hey, you can't wear that stuff outside, man. You'll freeze your nuts off. All right? And yes, I did say that. I said you will freeze your fucking... I didn't say fucking. But I said you will freeze your nuts off if you do this. Now, this guy, his response was, well, Dad, guess what? I run hot. I'm warm. I'm like a little toasty ball of hot. I said, yeah, you are, for sure. But at the same time, cold outside is way colder than you. So deal with it, all right? You're wearing a goddamn coat. So that's the introduction to frustration. There are many other things that happen as a parent and dealing with kids, obviously. And if you're a parent, you know this. But one of the things that kind of pissed me off was when COVID happened, and then, the kids get sent home from school, so they're home all the time. A lot of people, either lost their job or were put on, hiatus or whatever, and they had to stay home with the kids. This whole situation sucked for fucking everybody. Nobody wanted to stop. Nobody wanted to, sit back. I mean, I guess maybe there's a couple people that were just like, fuck it, I'm out. But for the most part, I don't think most people wanted to stop. I think they wanted to keep going. I think that... a little bit of the media and the push to understand maybe scared the shit out of some people. I totally understand. However, okay, if you're a parent and you are now finding yourself at home with your kids, you're the parent. The kid never decided to be here. You decided that the kid should be here, right? Right. So... for you to complain about the kid getting on your nerves or not doing what they're told or this or that is kind of fucking ass backwards, because the kid's just doing what a kid's going to do, which is try to get out of anything that is anything to do with learning. They just want to play video games, watch TV, and do this shit all day, right? That's all they want. Now, as a parent, it's obviously our job to sit back and say, hey, we got to take a break from the TV, we got to take a break from the video games, and we got to do schoolwork. And you have to be prepared for the fact that there's going to be a bunch of fucking whining, complaining. There may be a fit where the kid falls on the floor like the Simpsons and whoop, 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 whoops in a circle, okay? That might fucking happen. But for you to sit back and say, oh, these kids are driving me fucking nuts. No, man, shut that noise down. Because you decided. You were the person that decided that you wanted the kid for whatever reason. It doesn't matter if you wanted kids or it was an accidental pregnancy, you still chose to have the kid. And I'm totally all for your own decisions, your own choices. So if you weren't prepared to have the child, maybe you should not have had the child, is what I'm saying. Instead of sitting out on your front porch having a smoke, going, oh my God, are these kids fucking killing you? I'm gonna fucking kill these kids if I can't get them to do what I want. I can't take much more of this. They have to go back to school, blah, blah, blah. Fuck that noise, man. Okay? They don't have to go anywhere. What you now have to do as a parent is put your fucking big boy pants on, and you need to parent. Be the fucking parent. Step up. Do the shit that you know you need to do. Because there is never a time when the kid is the person that's causing the problem. Yes, their actions and things like that, but they don't know better. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'm conveying this as well as I want to, but okay. I look at it from my perspective, right? I said this on another podcast. I will always want to be a dad. I love kids. I love hanging out with them. Yes, I lose my cool. Yes, I get mad. Yes, sometimes I've yelled and things like that. All these things I've worked on though, and these are the things as grown adults we need to fucking work on. Because as I've noticed, as I get older and I interact with more and more adults, I start to realize like, oh man, there's a lot of times where people, as they grow up and they're now in charge of shit, don't really know what the fuck they're doing. In fact, I'm pretty sure most people don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just trying to figure it out. But they're doing it intelligently. They're recognizing where each facet, I guess, of their life has its slot. They're going through and understanding like, okay, work is work, home is home, kids are kids, this and that, right? People that are not good at that do the whole, man, I can't fucking take these kids, I can't do it, I don't know how I'm going to handle another fucking week at home, blah, blah, this is going to be insane. So, it's baffling to me, is all I'm saying. I don't understand that. And like I said, I can get mad at the kids, I can yell, I can, have temper. I had a temper tantrum last week because I woke up and the living room, we live in a smaller house, but like the living room was just, you couldn't walk, man. There were bits of coloring paper and like crayons and shit everywhere. All right. And like all the blankets that were on the couch are on the floor. There's clothes everywhere, fucking shoes. Who wears the shoes in the house? I wear I wear my shoes in the house. But I'm dad. I'm allowed to do that shit. Okay? As a kid, you take your shoes off at the fucking door and then you go in the house. Not my 7-year-old. My 7-year-old thinks that it is absolutely okay to wear all your outside clothes into the middle of the living room where we have an area rug and then get undressed there. You know what that's like in snow? Do you have any idea what that's like in snow? You have a pool. You have a swamp in your living room now. Okay? And you know that's going to be like fucking 2 hours of cleaning. Probably not that long. But it's going to be an extended period of time of cleaning that you were not planning for before that. Right? Right. So you're going to get pissed off at the kid. Sure. But that doesn't mean you should be sitting back going like, fuck these kids. That's what I'm saying. Is there's way too much of a division from parent to child. Now, there's sometimes in some scenarios you have to have that. Like with my kids, they call me a big kid because I like to play around and do stuff like that. But when it's time to do something else or when they're not supposed to, that's it. They know the rule, right? So I have a really hard time with anybody that sits there complaining about having the kids around 24 hours a day, especially a dual parental home. Because it's just me on my own here, man. Occasionally my ex comes over to see the kids, whatever, hang out. But, like, it's me. And since I've been off work, which is, like, July now, hopefully the interview that I did the week ago is, like, good, because that's a life changer. But anyway, even my ex complains about it. And, like, at the time she was complaining about it, we were sharing 50-50 custody. So, like, you didn't have them all the fucking time. I don't understand this, man. And like I said, now I've been home for like, 3 or 4 months? Yeah. And I've been around 24/7. And I've never once thought, fuck, I need a day to myself. I sometimes think like I could use a night with the boys and go get fucking shit faced, smoke a shit ton of dubs and pass the fuck out. That'd be great. I would love one of those days. But at the same time, I recognize my responsibility as a parent. And my responsibility as a parent is to teach these little motherfuckers how to be humans and how to be good humans. And also how to sort of like navigate negativity and all that bullshit. And at any time you talk in ways that is, you know, negative to your situation, you're already setting yourself up for fucking failure. So when I see these people around complaining, oh my God, go for a goddamn walk. I mean, if you have a baby, obviously you can't do that. Well, maybe you can. Because if you have two people in the house, you could take shifts. Mom goes for a walk for an hour or two or goes out with her friend. Well, I guess not in COVID, but like, you know, goes out for a bit, gets away from the situation. Then dad switches and does the same thing later on. You know, schedule out your fucking days, man. That's when my ex and I were together and we had I think 2 kids at the time. We had our first 2. And that's exactly what we did. Like one night, Friday night, I would get to go out with my buddies and sleep in the next day, and she would take care of the kids in the morning and stuff. And then Saturday night was her night to go out with her friends, and then she got to sleep in. So what I would do is I just take the kids out to like Home Depot and walk around Home Depot because they were young enough that they liked all the power tool shit. They loved watching the guy at the saw cut plywood. I don't know, that makes no sense to me, but they loved it. So we spent a couple hours just walking around Home Depot, and then that was obviously before COVID and stuff like that. So you could go places and do things, but like you could still do shit. Just because businesses or restaurants and things like that are shut down doesn't mean you can't go the fuck outside, man. Go outside. Go for a walk. That's my biggest fight right now with my kids, is to get them to go for a fucking walk. Like, they've been so relegated to the house on such a regular basis that to try and get them away from computers and TV now is next to fucking impossible. It's like, you know what? It's like peeling... It's like peeling that fucking plastic wrap off of like electronics. Like you have to actually get scissors to fucking, you need to squeegee that bitch off the TV is what I'm saying. You got to do a bunch of different shit to get them motivated to go places. And again, you're going to deal with a bunch of whining and yelling and screaming and complaining, but that's what you signed up for. You're a parent. That's what you do. Your brain is fully functional. Well, it should be fully functional at this point, or at least the ability to function at a higher level than your child, right? So that you can recognize when they're just causing some shit to cause some shit versus like pushing your buttons versus, you know, actually really going against what the rule or what the logic is. Yeah, it's amazing to me. I like. Which brings me to my biggest point. There's a lot of parents out there that are whiny fucking bitches, man. There's a lot of shit that we have to put up with. I have, you know, most of the people, I'm older, I'm 39, oldish. So, you know, a lot of my friends have kids and things like that. A lot of them don't have 3 kids. A lot of them have 1 kid. And I watch these people, you know, run around like their heads cut off for 1 kid. And, like, I get it. You want to give your kid everything and all that stuff. And that is tough. But, like, I look back going, like, 1 kid was fucking simple. You know, my oldest kid was 3 years old before my son came along. Okay? And this was fucking, it was cake, man. It was the easiest shit you could do. This kid, all she wanted to do was play with stuff. She was hilarious. So she did all kinds of funny, like, goofy shit, like bouncing around like a penguin, whatever. It wouldn't make sense to you because you weren't there. But the point is, I love that kid. She's hilarious. But with 1 kid, it was super easy. The hardest thing was getting up in the morning when she was a baby to take care of her, or having to get up in the middle of the night. That was the toughest shit. So if you tell me that you have a problem with 1 kid at home and like it always, her always being around, that's fucking bananas to me. Because I got 3, dude. One will ask a question and the other one will just start asking another question right in the middle of that question. There's no such thing as not being interrupted in my house, which is horrible because that's like my biggest pet peeve. I fucking hate being interrupted. If somebody's talking, you shut the fuck up and you let them talk, right? I mean, unless you're hanging out with your buddies. But if you're trying to hear what they're saying, like an answer to a question or like have a discussion about something, then you need to, the conversation goes speak, listen, speak, that kind of thing, right? These kids, they just talk. They just throw shit out there. Like, one's asking me what's for dinner. The next one's asking me why his pants aren't clean. And then neither of them are looking at the fucking, or are listening for the fucking answer. They're just talking. Talk. It drives me fucking crazy. But there will never, ever be a point that you will catch me going, oh my God, these fucking kids are so fucking pressing. No way. No way, man. Because it was my choice. Well, me and my ex, obviously. Obviously, it wasn't just my choice. But it was two adults' choice to bring other human beings into the world. So it is now on you to provide everything that they need. And a big chunk of what they need is shit that you don't want to do. Because you, as an adult, still feel like you need that shit done for you. You don't want to do laundry. You don't want to do dishes. You don't want to fucking clean the floor or the bathroom. Nobody wants to do that shit. Maybe if you smoke a sativa. If you smoke a really good sativa, you might clean your entire fucking house. You might even bathe the kids without them even knowing. That's how into it you can get with the sativa. But if you're smoking an indica, and then next thing you know, you just want to sit down, like it's movie time, okay? You smoke a little indica, maybe like 15 minutes, and it's family movie night. Boom, you're going to sit down, you're going to watch a movie. Great. Fucking middle of that movie, you got to make popcorn, you're running around. You don't want to do that shit on an indica. And most people forget the fact, that I smoke weed and stuff like that, and that a lot of my friends smoke weed. Forget that fact. But those are the personalities. You've got the sativa of parenting, and then you've got the indica of parenting, okay? You've got the sativa of parenting are the people that recognize their position as a parent, and then they have to do what they know they have to do for their kid. And yes, it gets taxing, tiring, and you get frustrated and all that stuff, but you keep it in place, and you figure out ways to deal with it in the best way possible. Right? Without being like, fuck these kids. Get these fucking kids out of here. I'm going to send you for adoption. Stuff like that. You know what? That's the sativa of parenting will never go to that point. The indica of parenting, okay, will go to that point immediately. They'll just be like, and I have times where I'm just sitting there like, look, my kids are old enough to make their own shit. So when they ask me to make a bowl of cereal for them, I will laugh and be like, don't be ridiculous. Get your own cereal. Okay? But you can't do that for everything. Like, if they want lasagna for dinner, probably not a good idea for a 7-year-old to be fucking putting on lasagna, right? Or making soup. Anything that might burn everybody is probably not the best idea. But if they could do simple tasks, get them to do simple tasks. And the indica of parents won't even bother with the simple tasks or even the hard tasks, sorry. They won't bother with any of them. They'll just be like, look, fuck you, go do it yourself. I've done it enough for the day. The only time that I cop out in the day is because we have a rule in my house. Well, we kind of have a rule. I'm trying to keep it a rule. But they have to wash their dishes. Every day, I've washed all these dishes for these little motherfuckers. Always. And I constantly bitch and moan and complain that they're not doing it. My 12-year-old does. I give her complete credit. She does her own dishes. She cooks. She cleans her pots and pans, all that stuff. She's awesome. But the other two little ones, they don't do it. They do it sometimes. If I remind them, maybe they'll do it. But for the most part, they just forget. Or like, I'll find a bowl under their bed because they wanted to hide it. Like, get the fuck out of here. Bring the bowl down. So I find myself having to do a lot of the dishes. And in that case, there are days where I do become an indica parent in terms of dishes. Because I'm like, fuck that. You can't find a dish. You've used all of them. I know exactly which ones I've used and I've washed them. So I'm off today. If you need a dish, you wash that son of a bitch. You do it yourself. Obviously, I don't do this with a whole bunch of swearing to my kids. To my kids, okay? I don't do that. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I swear. But normally when I'm swearing, it's in a fun way. Like I said, like telling my son he'll freeze his balls off. That kind of thing. I'm not swearing at them, telling them like, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that. That's not happening. But for the purposes of podcasting and talking the way I talk, that's how that went. So, what I'm saying is, anytime that a parent starts to complain or get annoyed with or freak out about the situation with their kids and really tries to find that as like a common ground between someone else, there's two things that are happening there. One, I think you're a negative fucking person anyway. Okay? So I don't really want to talk to you, and I won't engage in that conversation because, like I said, I won't talk like that about my kids. So the other thing that they're doing though is they're taking this whole situation and making it about themselves. As a parent, nothing's about you. Fucking deal with it. Nothing is about you at all, ever. And if you can't realize that as a parent, then you definitely need to smoke weed. Because the weed will tell you, hey man, this shit ain't about you. And you need to be okay with that. And if it takes you smoking weed to be okay with that, then you need to do it more. Because you need to be okay with the fact that you have 1, 3, 5, 10, however many little human beings running around, taking up your time. They need to be the ones that are your focal point. You and your emotions and your feelings and all that stuff don't fucking matter. Yes, you want your kids to love you and reciprocate and things like that. But what I'm talking about is well, what about me? That kind of attitude. That's the kind of attitude that breeds that whole, if I have to deal with these kids any longer, 24 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. It breeds that bullshit, man. So my opinion, again, this is all just my opinion, but what you need to fucking do is you need to stop looking at it like, oh, this has been done to me. You need to look at it in terms of like, hey, this is how it is and I just have to deal with it. Because if you just look at it as we just have to deal with it or I have to deal with it or whatever, then it stays in place. It stays where it needs to be mentally for you. And that's what you need, especially as a parent. Because like I said, you got little human beings grabbing at you all the time, needing all of your attention and everything you can do all of the time. There's never a break. Like when they go to bed, there may not even be a break then. One of them might get up and sleepwalk and fucking zombie themselves downstairs. You got to deal with that. Sometimes that's fucking hilarious. But at the same time, it's freaky as shit because you don't expect it and they don't respond to you in the same way. But anyway, you never get a break. You're on 24 hours a day. So you have to make sure that, your mind is right in that situation. And your mind should be on what do my kids need? And that's it. Then you find from there your moments. Like I'll take my kids over to a play date to a friend's house and we'll, watch some football. I'll have maybe a beer or two. And then, 4 or 5 hours later after football's done, we'll go home. I got my break. I didn't have to deal with the kids. I didn't have to look for something for them every 20 minutes or whatever. I got my little break. So that's why I say I don't need, and I don't think most people need like these days and days. Yes, it's nice to have a rest, but you just need to change your fucking mental perceptive. You need to change your mental perspective on what your situation is. And unfortunately, everybody on the fucking planet is essentially in the same situation right now. We're stuck. We all have to do the same kind of shit, right? So fucking deal with it. There's no sense in complaining about it. There's no sense in sitting there going, oh, it could have been this way. It should have been this way. It should have been that way. Well, you're right. It should have been, could have been, would have been. But it's the way it is right now. So what we have to do is we have to figure out how to deal with what we've got going on now. Get rid of the whole, oh, fuck this, I don't like it, I don't like this, I don't want to be here 24 hours. You know what? Deal with it, man. That's all I'm saying. It's been on my mind for a while. And like I'm not trying to say that I'm the best parent either. Like, I like to think that I'm a good parent. I like to think that I'm a good dad. I think that I have a great relationship with my kids. But I also listen to other parents and I pay attention to what they're doing, and I try to live up to some standards that I see from other people that I don't do. And I think that, you just got to stay away from the negativity. But that's basically the same thing as life, man. You got to keep the negativity out of your space. because all it does is drain you emotionally, physically, everything. You're done. You're done. Mentally, you're done if you start getting into that negative shit. So stop with the negativity. Start with the great parenting. And show the people that you love them. Because let's be honest, man, that's really what fucking counts. That's totally what counts. Now, I'm going to go inside, hang out with my youngest, and we're going to watch a show because she needs some hugs. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming back every Friday at 4:20 on Anchor and Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can find a podcast. It's out there. Yeah, and I hope you guys come back next week to listen to another session from Thoughts Off the Stem with me, Justin Barone. And if you get a chance, if you're new to this, if you're not, you've heard this a million times. Well, not really. This will be 17th time. Check out our merch store, Thoughts Off the Stem merch. It's at teespring.com/stores/TOTS420. So until next time, man, I'm all stumbling now. I think the weed's kicking in. So until next time, roll them up, light your bowls, do your dabs, do what you do, stay high, stay positive, and have a good one. You guys are awesome.